We are inside Nidaros Cathedral, the destination for all the pilgrims who came here in the Middle Ages, but also today. And this cathedral was built, it was completed in this size around the year 1320, and they had spent 250 years in building it up until the size it actually has today. Now in the Middle Ages, it was a very impressive sight in the city sphere, because Trondheim was a small city with only 2,000 inhabitants, and Nidaros Cathedral standing there, slightly outside the city, the largest church in Norway. Now, the cathedral is partly similar today, like it would have been in the Middle Ages, but there's also been several fires, so we have a lot of reconstruction and rebuilding, but the building itself is still impressive to this day. Now, in front of you here, we have the main altar in the cathedral, and in the Middle Ages, there would have been a silver shrine with the body of Saint Olav inside. Now, Saint Olav was the national saint of Norway, and he was canonized here in Nidaros only 1 year after his death in 1031. Now, we don't have the shrine there today, but we can imagine how it would have been in the Middle Ages, with a light on the main altar, with a large silver shrine made as a small cathedral, decorated with gold and gems, and the reliquia of the Holy King inside. The pilgrims who came here would have walked in side corridors we have along the side, up to the main altar, and then around in the ambulatory, so they were able to come as close as possible to the shrine of the Holy King. So we can go there as well, so if you follow me. We will walk around the octagon, which has several parts even today from the 1200s, with a lot of the small sculptures made by the stone masons who helped build this cathedral for almost 800 years ago. So imagine being a pilgrim here in the Middle Ages, walking in this corridor, slightly dark, and looking through the small openings to see the main altar and the reliquia of the Holy King, Saint Olav. The reason why they had walked all the way to Nidaros. Now, many pilgrims walked for days, weeks, maybe even months. Some came by sea, but the destination was the shrine we had on top of the main altar. That shrine was removed in the 1500s, and the body of Saint Olav was buried underneath the church. It's a mystery where he was buried, but it is believed he is somewhere around the main altar. As a pilgrim here in the Middle Ages, but also today, they would have looked up on all the windows you have in the cathedral. There would have been stained glass windows, even though the ones we have today are from more modern time, from the 1900s. They are probably similar to the ones the pilgrims in the Middle Ages would have looked upon. They show Bible stories, and so the pilgrims who couldn't read, they were able to learn Bible stories by looking at the windows we have here. And the color used in the windows you see here are the same as they used in the Middle Ages. So around us here we have a lot of the ornaments that are almost 800 years old, and they were made by the stonemasons who came from England, Germany, France to help build Nidaros Cathedral. And they spent 250 years in building it up, and they took a lot of inspiration from other Gothic cathedrals, especially in England, while building this. In relation to Saint Olav, we can take a short stop here behind the main altar because in this small room we have an altarpiece dedicated to Saint Olav. So Saint Olav himself, the national saint of Norway and the eternal king of the country, is standing there in the middle, holding his axe, his attribute. On top of this altar there are several rocks left there by pilgrims who come here. They still take the same talk we have been doing, and they leave stones on top of the altar to be rid of a burden after having completed the talk. Now, beside this altar on the floor, we know there is a partly hidden grave, and someone believes that is the grave of Saint Olav today. But it's still a mystery, and we say Nidaros Cathedral is the resting place of Saint Olav, but exactly where he is, and if he is in this room, we don't know for certain. But we know that in the Middle Ages, we would have been able to look upon his shrine on the main altar directly behind us. Now, one very important stop for everyone visiting the cathedral in the Middle Ages was the well of Saint Olav. We have it on the left side through here, and it was water coming from the spring of Saint Olav who came to the cathedral, and they believed the water had healing properties. So all the pilgrims stopped there and brought water back to sick family members, for example. So you can see just here into the left. To take with the water, and we can see that the wall surrounding it is completely dark because it is soapstone, and soapstone has the quality that it changes color when you touch it and turns black. So here we have a sign of all the people who have touched the walls of this cathedral during 800 years. Now on the floor in front of us we have two small holes, and for the people who took the holy water into their flasks, if they spilled water, the water would go through the holes back into the well, and it could be reused. So it was very important not to spill any holy water. Now we have completed the tour around the octagon in the cathedral, and especially in the Middle Ages, all pilgrims and other visitors, they would then go to other altars dedicated to saints that they knew. Because in this cathedral, they had 24 altars in the Middle Ages, all dedicated to different saints. It was very important to go to the altar with the saint most important for you. For example, how you worked, because you had saints for blacksmiths, you had saints for healers, and so they could go to the altars and have a small mass there before they left the cathedral.